If you're a man over 60, this message could save your life. Right now, as you're listening to this, your body might be walking straight into health traps that could steal your independence, drain your energy, and rob you of years you should be enjoying. I'm talking about silent killers that masquerade as normal aging, but they're not. They're preventable disasters waiting to happen. My name is Dr. Michael Harrison, and I've spent over 25 years working specifically with men in their 60s, 70s, and beyond. I've sat across from thousands of proud, accomplished men who thought they were doing everything right, only to watch their health crumble because they fell into these 5 deadly traps. Men who went from strong and independent to struggling with basic daily tasks, not because they had to, but because no one warned them about what was coming. The tragedy is that every single one of these health disasters is completely avoidable if you know what to look for. But here's the problem. Your regular doctor won't tell you about these traps. They're too focused on treating symptoms after the damage is done. They're not thinking about prevention. They're not thinking about keeping you strong and vital for the next 20 or 30 years of your life. But I am. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. Now, before we dive in, I want you to do something for me. If you're serious about protecting your health and staying independent as you age, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. This channel is dedicated to giving men over 60 the real information they need to thrive, not just survive. And if this message resonates with you, type the number 1 in the comments. If you're skeptical, type 0. I want to know where you stand because this conversation is too important to sugarcoat. Here's what most men don't realize. The health choices you make today, the habits you ignore, the warning signs you dismiss, they're not just affecting how you feel right now. They're determining whether you'll be playing with your grandchildren at 75 or struggling to get out of bed. Whether you'll be traveling with your wife at 80 or confined to a wheelchair. Whether you'll be sharp and engaged at 85 or lost in confusion. The difference between these two futures isn't luck. It isn't genetics. It's knowledge. It's knowing which traps to avoid and having the courage to act on that knowledge before it's too late. I've seen men who were once strong, capable, and proud reduced to shadows of themselves, not because of some rare disease, but because they fell into these common health traps that no one bothered to warn them about. And I've also seen men who were headed down that same path completely turn their lives around once they understood what they were dealing with. The question is, which man are you going to be? Let me tell you about Frank, a 68-year-old retired construction worker who came to see me last year. Frank was tough as nails, worked with his hands his whole life, never missed a day of work in 40 years. But when he walked into my office, he looked defeated. He told me he was tired all the time. His thinking was foggy. He couldn't sleep, and he felt like his body was betraying him. Frank had fallen into 3 of the 5 traps I'm going to share with you today. The worst part? He thought it was just normal aging. He'd accepted that this was his new reality, but it wasn't. Within 6 months of addressing these issues, Frank was back to feeling like himself. He was hiking again, sleeping through the night, and his wife told me she got her husband back. That's the power of knowing what you're dealing with. That's why this information is so critical. Now, I want to be clear about something. These aren't scare tactics. These aren't theories. These are real documented health traps that I see men fall into every single day in my practice. And the consequences are devastating, not just for the men themselves, but for their families who have to watch them decline unnecessarily. But here's the good news. Every single one of these traps is avoidable. Every single one has a solution. And the earlier you catch them, the easier they are to fix. So let's get started with the first health trap, and I guarantee this one is going to surprise you because it's something most men think is actually good for them. The first health trap that's destroying men over 60 is what I call the cardio obsession trap. Now, before you think I'm about to tell you that exercise is bad, hear me out. I'm not talking about all exercise. I'm talking about the dangerous belief that endless cardio is the key to healthy aging. He spends hours walking on that thing, thinking he's doing his body a favor. And yes, some cardio is good for you. But when it becomes your only form of exercise, when you're doing it for hours every day, you're walking straight into a trap that could cost you your independence. Let me explain why. As you age, your body naturally loses muscle mass. After 60, you lose about 1 to 2% of your muscle mass every single year. That might not sound like much, but over 10 years, that's 10 to 20% of your muscle gone. And here's the kicker. Excessive cardio accelerates this muscle loss. When you do nothing but cardio, especially long, steady-state cardio, your body starts breaking down muscle tissue for energy. It's called catabolism, and it's the enemy of healthy aging. You think you're getting healthier, but you're actually making yourself weaker, more fragile, more prone to falls and injuries. I had a patient named Robert, 64 years old, who was doing 2 hours of cardio every day. He was proud of it. He thought he was the picture of health. But when we did his body composition analysis, he had the muscle mass of an 80-year-old. His bone density was declining. His metabolism was shot. He was what we call skinny fat, thin on the outside, but weak on the inside. The real tragedy? Robert thought he was preventing heart disease and diabetes. But without adequate muscle mass, his body couldn't properly regulate blood sugar. His metabolism was so slow that he was gaining fat even while doing all that cardio. He was actually increasing his risk of the very diseases he was trying to prevent. Here's what Robert should have been doing, and what every man over 60 needs to understand. Your body needs resistance training. It needs to build and maintain muscle. Muscle is your metabolic engine. It's what keeps your bones strong. It's what prevents falls. It's what allows you to maintain your independence as you age. When you focus only on cardio, you're essentially telling your body that muscle doesn't matter. But muscle is everything when it comes to healthy aging. It's what determines whether you can carry your own groceries at 75, whether you can get up from a chair without help at 80, whether you can live independently at 85. The solution isn't to stop all cardio. It's to balance it with strength training. 2 to 3 days a week of resistance training, focusing on compound movements that work multiple muscle groups: squats, deadlifts, presses, rows. These are the exercises that will keep you strong and functional as you age. But here's where it gets even more dangerous. The cardio obsession trap doesn't just affect your muscles. It affects your hormones too. Excessive cardio elevates cortisol, your stress hormone, and chronically elevated cortisol wreaks havoc on your testosterone levels. This creates a downward spiral where you lose muscle faster, gain fat easier, and feel weaker and more tired. I've seen men who were doing hours of cardio every day with testosterone levels in the basement. They couldn't understand why they felt so tired, why their mood was so low, why they had no energy for the things they used to enjoy. The answer was simple. They were overtraining with the wrong type of exercise. Now, you might be thinking, but what about my heart health? Isn't cardio supposed to be good for my heart? And yes, moderate cardio is beneficial for cardiovascular health, but excessive cardio can actually be harmful. It can lead to cardiac stress, irregular heart rhythms, and even heart damage in some cases. The key is moderation and variety. Some walking, some cycling, some swimming, combined with regular strength training. This gives you the cardiovascular benefits without the muscle-wasting effects of excessive cardio. But the cardio obsession trap is just the beginning. The second health trap is even more insidious because It's something that most men don't even realize is happening until it's almost too late. And this one has to do with something you probably do every single day without thinking about it. The second health trap that's silently destroying men over 60 is what I call the sitting disease epidemic. Now, you might think this sounds trivial, but let me tell you something that will change how you view sitting forever. Sitting for extended periods is literally killing you, and it's doing it in ways you never imagined. Here's the scary truth. If you sit for more than 6 hours a day, and most men over 60 sit for 8 to 12 hours daily, you're increasing your risk of death by 40%. That's not a typo. 40%. Sitting is so dangerous that researchers now call it the new smoking. Which destabilizes your entire pelvis and spine. Your circulation slows down dramatically. Blood pools in your legs. Your heart has to work harder to pump blood through your system. Your lymphatic system, which is responsible for removing toxins from your body, basically stops working because it relies on muscle movement to function. But here's the part that really shocked me when I first learned about it. Sitting shuts down an enzyme called lipoprotein lipase, which is responsible for breaking down fat in your bloodstream. Within 30 minutes of sitting, this enzyme's activity drops by 90%. 90%. That means your body loses its ability to process fat properly, leading to weight gain, high cholesterol, and increased risk of heart disease and diabetes. Your metabolism crashes. Your insulin sensitivity plummets. Your blood sugar spikes. And all of this happens whether you're in good shape or not. You could be running marathons, but if you're sitting 10 hours a day, you're still at risk. George's blood work was a disaster. His triglycerides were through the roof. His HDL cholesterol was in the basement. His fasting glucose was pre-diabetic. His inflammatory markers were elevated. And this was a man who thought he was healthy because he watched his diet and got regular checkups. But the metabolic damage is just the beginning. Prolonged sitting also affects your brain. When you sit, blood flow to your brain decreases. Oxygen delivery drops. This leads to brain fog, memory problems, difficulty concentrating, and increased risk of cognitive decline and dementia. I've had patients tell me they feel like their brain isn't working the way it used to. They forget names, lose their train of thought, struggle to focus on tasks they used to handle easily. They think it's just aging, but often it's the sitting disease affecting their cognitive function. The psychological effects are just as devastating. Sitting for long periods increases your risk of depression and anxiety. It creates a sense of lethargy and hopelessness. You start to feel old, tired, and disconnected from life, and the cruel irony is that the more you feel this way, the more you want to sit, creating a vicious cycle that's hard to break. Now, here's what makes this trap so dangerous for men over 60 specifically. As you age, your body becomes less resilient. It takes longer to recover from the damage that sitting causes. A 30-year-old might be able to sit all day and bounce back with a workout, but at 60, your body can't compensate as easily. The damage accumulates faster and lasts longer. The solution seems obvious. Just stand up more, right? But it's not that simple. The key isn't just to stand more. It's to move more. Standing still isn't much better than sitting if you're not moving. What you need is regular movement throughout the day. Every 30 minutes, you need to get up and move for at least 2 to 3 minutes. Walk around, do some stretches, march in place, do some body weight exercises. Anything that gets your blood flowing and your muscles activated. But here's the part that most people miss. It's not enough to just move more during the day if you're still sitting for hours at a time. You need to break up those sitting periods. You can't bank activity. You can't sit for 8 hours and then exercise for an hour and expect to undo the damage. The human body is designed for moves, march in place, do some body weight exercises, anything that gets your blood flowing and your muscles activated. But here's the part that most people miss. It's not enough to just move more during the day if you're still sitting for hours at a time. You need to break up those sitting periods. You can't bank activity. You can't sit for 8 hours and then exercise for an hour and expect to undo the damage. The human body is designed for. We created a standing desk area in his home. We found activities that got him moving throughout the day. Walking meetings with friends, standing while reading, doing household chores in short bursts throughout the day instead of all at once. The sitting habit that was slowly killing him. But sitting disease is just one piece of the puzzle. The third health trap is perhaps the most overlooked, and it's happening while you sleep. Or rather, while you're trying to sleep. This trap is stealing your recovery, destroying your hormones, and aging you faster than anything else you can imagine. The third health trap that's devastating men over 60 is what I call the sleep destruction syndrome. Now, I know what you're thinking. Everyone talks about sleep. You've heard it all before. But what I'm about to share with you goes far beyond just getting 8 hours a night. This is about understanding how poor sleep is literally accelerating your aging process and destroying your health in ways you never imagined. Here's the truth that most men don't want to face. After age 60, your sleep architecture changes dramatically. You spend less time in deep sleep, the restorative stage where your body repairs itself, builds muscle, and consolidates memories. You wake up more frequently during the night. Your sleep becomes lighter and less refreshing. But here's where it gets dangerous. Most men accept this as normal aging and don't do anything about it. They think waking up tired, feeling groggy, and needing naps during the day is just part of getting older. But it's not. It's a health trap that's stealing years from your life. Let me tell you about James, a 63-year-old retired teacher who came to see me convinced he was developing dementia. He was forgetting names, losing his keys, struggling to concentrate. His wife was worried. His adult children were concerned. But when we did a sleep study, we discovered the real problem. James was getting almost no deep sleep. His brain wasn't getting the restorative sleep it needed to function properly. When you don't get adequate deep sleep, several catastrophic things happen to your body. First, your growth hormone production plummets. Growth hormone is crucial for muscle repair, bone density, and fat metabolism. Without it, you lose muscle faster, your bones become weaker, and you gain fat more easily. Your testosterone levels crash. Deep sleep is when your body produces most of its testosterone. Poor sleep can reduce testosterone by 30 to 40% in just 1 week. This leads to decreased muscle mass, increased fat storage, reduced energy, and loss of vitality. Your immune system becomes compromised. During deep sleep, your body produces infection-fighting cells and antibodies. Without adequate deep sleep, you become more susceptible to illness and take longer to recover when you do get sick. Your brain's cleaning system shuts down. During deep sleep, your brain literally washes itself, clearing out toxins and waste products that accumulate during the day. Without this cleaning process, these toxins build up, leading to brain fog, memory problems, and increased risk of neurodegenerative diseases. But here's the part that really shocked me when I first learned about it. Poor sleep doesn't just make you tired. It actually changes your DNA expression. It activates genes associated with aging and deactivates genes associated with longevity and health. You're literally aging yourself at the cellular level every night you don't get quality sleep. James's problem wasn't dementia. It was sleep deprivation. His brain was drowning in toxins because it couldn't clean itself properly. His memory problems, his confusion, his inability to concentrate, all of it was caused by poor sleep quality. Now, here's where this trap becomes even more insidious. As your sleep quality deteriorates, it creates a cascade of problems that make everything else worse. You wake up tired, so you drink more caffeine, which affects your sleep that night. You feel sluggish, so you exercise less, which makes it harder to fall asleep. You're stressed about your health, which elevates cortisol and disrupts your sleep even more. You start relying on alcohol to help you fall asleep, not realizing that alcohol destroys sleep quality, even if it helps you fall asleep initially. You might fall asleep faster with a drink, but you'll wake up more during the night and get less deep sleep. Many men also develop sleep apnea as they age, often without realizing it. Sleep apnea doesn't just cause snoring. It causes your breathing to stop repeatedly during the night, depriving your brain of oxygen and preventing deep sleep. This condition affects nearly 25% of men over 60, but most don't know they have it. Metabolism becomes completely dysregulated. Poor sleep affects hormones that regulate hunger and satiety. You produce more ghrelin, the hormone that makes you hungry, and less leptin, the hormone that makes you feel full. This leads to overeating, weight gain, and increased risk of diabetes. But here's what makes this trap so dangerous for men over 60. Unlike younger men, who can sometimes get away with poor sleep for a while, your body at 60 can't compensate. The damage accumulates faster, and the recovery takes longer. The solution isn't just to sleep more, it's to sleep better. Quality matters more than quantity. 7 hours of deep, restorative sleep is better than 9 hours of light, fragmented sleep. This means creating an environment that promotes deep sleep. Your bedroom should be cool, dark, and quiet. You should have a consistent bedtime routine that signals to your body that it's time to wind down. You should avoid screens for at least an hour before bed because blue light suppresses melatonin production. You need to address any underlying sleep disorders. If you snore, wake up gasping, or your partner says you stop breathing during the night, you need to get tested for sleep apnea. This condition is treatable, but left untreated, it will destroy your health. You need to be strategic about caffeine and alcohol. Caffeine has a half-life of 6 to 8 hours, so that afternoon, coffee is still affecting your sleep at bedtime. Alcohol might help you fall asleep, but it will prevent you from getting the deep sleep your body needs. Exercise is crucial for sleep quality, but timing matters. Regular exercise improves sleep, but exercising too close to bedtime can be stimulating and make it harder to fall asleep. When we addressed James's sleep issues, the transformation was remarkable. We treated his sleep apnea, optimized his sleep environment, and established a proper bedtime routine. Within 2 months, his memory problems disappeared. His energy returned. His wife said it was like getting her husband back. But sleep destruction syndrome is just one of the 5 traps. The 4th trap is perhaps the most overlooked because it seems so harmless, so normal, so much a part of daily life that most men don't even realize it's slowly poisoning them. The 4th health trap that's silently destroying men over 60 is what I call chronic dehydration syndrome. Now, before you dismiss this as too simple to be important, let me share something that will change how you think about hydration forever. Most men over 60 are chronically dehydrated, and they don't even know it. They think they're drinking enough water, but they're slowly drying up from the inside out. Here's what happens as you age. Your body's ability to conserve water decreases. Your kidneys become less efficient at concentrating urine. Your thirst sensation diminishes, so you don't feel thirsty even when your body desperately needs water. Your total body water content decreases from about 60% in young adults to as low as 45% in older adults. But here's the kicker. By the time you feel thirsty, you're already significantly dehydrated. Your body has been running on empty for hours, maybe days, and the damage this causes is far more extensive than most people realize. Walter was meticulous about everything in his life. He tracked his medications, monitored his blood pressure, followed his diet religiously. But he was drinking maybe 2 glasses of water a day and thought that was enough. When you're chronically dehydrated, several devastating things happen to your body. Your blood becomes thicker and more viscous, making your heart work harder to pump it through your system. This increases your blood pressure and puts strain on your cardiovascular system. Your joints lose their lubrication. Cartilage is 80% water, and when you're dehydrated, it becomes brittle and prone to damage. This leads to joint pain, stiffness, and accelerated arthritis. Your kidneys can't function properly. They need adequate water to filter waste from your blood. When you're dehydrated, toxins build up in your system, leading to fatigue, brain fog, and increased risk of kidney stones and kidney disease. Your digestive system shuts down. You need water to produce saliva, stomach acid, and digestive enzymes. Without adequate hydration, you develop constipation, indigestion, and poor nutrient absorption. Your brain function deteriorates. Your brain is 75% water, and even mild dehydration can cause confusion, memory problems, and difficulty concentrating. Many men attribute these symptoms to aging when they're actually just dehydrated. Cellular aging. Your cells need water to maintain their structure and function. When they're dehydrated, they shrivel up like raisins. This affects every organ system in your body. Your skin becomes dry and wrinkled. Your muscles lose their fullness and strength. Your organs can't function efficiently. You literally age faster when you're chronically dehydrated. Walter's blood work showed signs of chronic dehydration. His blood urea nitrogen was elevated. His creatinine was borderline high. His hematocrit was elevated because his blood was concentrated from lack of water. And this was a man who thought he was healthy because his cholesterol was good and his blood pressure was controlled with medication. Now, here's where this trap becomes particularly dangerous for men over 60. As you age, your body becomes less resilient to dehydration. A younger person might be able to function reasonably well while mildly dehydrated, but at 60, even mild dehydration can cause significant problems. Your temperature regulation becomes impaired. You become more susceptible to heat stroke and hypothermia. Your immune system becomes compromised. Your wound healing slows down. Your medication effectiveness can be altered because drug concentrations in your blood change when you're dehydrated. Many men also develop what I call medication-induced dehydration. Blood pressure medications, diuretics, and many other drugs commonly prescribed to older adults can increase fluid loss or affect your body's ability to conserve water. But most men don't adjust their water intake to compensate. The solution seems simple. Just drink more water. But it's not that straightforward. The quality of your hydration matters as much as the quantity. Plain water is good, but your body also needs electrolytes, sodium, potassium, and magnesium to properly utilize the water you drink. Many men make the mistake of drinking large amounts of water all at once, thinking they're hydrating themselves. But your body can only absorb about 8 ounces of water per hour. Drinking more than that just makes you urinate more without actually improving your hydration status. The key is consistent, steady hydration throughout the day. Small amounts of water regularly, rather than large amounts occasionally. And you need to start first thing in the morning because you wake up dehydrated after 8 hours without fluid intake. You also need to be aware of things that dehydrate you. Caffeine, you also need to be aware of things that dehydrate you. Caffeine is a mild diuretic, so that morning coffee is actually contributing to dehydration. Alcohol is even worse, causing significant fluid loss and interfering with your body's ability to retain water. Many medications have dehydrating effects that most men aren't aware of. The environment plays a role too. Air conditioning, heating systems, and dry climates all increase your fluid needs. Flying is particularly dehydrating because of the low humidity in airplane cabins. Many men don't adjust their water intake for these factors. I worked with Walter to completely overhaul his hydration strategy. We started with a large glass of water first thing in the morning to rehydrate after the overnight fast. We added a pinch of high-quality sea salt to provide electrolytes. We set up reminders throughout the day to drink small amounts regularly. We also looked at his total fluid intake from all sources. Herbal teas, broths, and water-rich foods like fruits and vegetables all contribute to hydration. We reduced his caffeine intake and eliminated alcohol, which had been sabotaging his hydration efforts. The transformation was remarkable. Within 3 weeks, Walter's joint pain decreased significantly. His energy levels improved. His constipation resolved. His mental clarity returned. His wife said his skin looked healthier and more vibrant. All from something as simple as proper hydration. But chronic dehydration is just the fourth trap. The fifth and final health trap is perhaps the most dangerous because it's completely invisible until it's almost too late. This trap affects every aspect of your health, and most men have no idea they're caught in it until the damage is already done. The fifth and most dangerous health trap that's destroying men over 60 is what I call silent inflammation syndrome. This is the trap that ties all the others together, the underlying fire that's burning in your body right now, quietly destroying your organs, your joints, your brain, and your cardiovascular system. Here's what most men don't understand about inflammation. There are two types: acute inflammation and chronic inflammation. Acute inflammation is good. It's your body's natural response to injury or infection. When you cut your finger, it becomes red, swollen, and painful. That's acute inflammation working to heal the wound. A 67-year-old retired executive who came to see me for what he thought was just a routine checkup. Richard looked healthy. He was still playing golf, still active, still sharp mentally. But his blood work told a different story. His inflammatory markers were through the roof, indicating that his body was fighting a war he didn't even know was happening. Chronic inflammation is linked to every major disease of aging: heart disease, diabetes, cancer, Alzheimer's disease, arthritis, autoimmune conditions. If you have chronic inflammation, you're at increased risk for all of these conditions. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Here's how chronic inflammation develops. Over the years, your body is exposed to various stressors: poor diet, lack of sleep, chronic stress, environmental toxins, infections, injuries. Your immune system responds to these stressors with inflammation. In a healthy person, this inflammation resolves once the stressor is removed. But as you age, your body becomes less efficient at resolving inflammation. The inflammatory response gets stuck in the on position. Your immune system starts attacking healthy tissue. Your body becomes a battleground where the very system designed to protect you, infections, injuries. Your immune system responds to these stressors with inflammation. In a healthy person, this inflammation resolves once the stressor is removed. But as you age, your body becomes less efficient at resolving inflammation. The inflammatory response gets stuck in the on position. Your immune system starts attacking healthy tissue. Your body becomes a battleground where the very system designed to protect you, disease. His brain was inflamed, increasing his risk of cognitive decline. His joints were inflamed, causing the stiffness and pain he was starting to experience. His prostate was inflamed, affecting his urinary function. The sources of chronic inflammation in men over 60 are everywhere. The standard American diet, loaded with processed foods, sugar, and inflammatory oils, is a major contributor. Chronic stress elevates cortisol, which fuels inflammation. Looking at the content we've covered today, I want to leave you with something vital. Your health after 60 isn't about accepting decline or giving up on feeling strong. It's about making informed choices that support your body's natural ability to thrive. These 3 vitamins, vitamin D for circulation, B12,